I'm live. Great. Spent like 10 minutes getting this up. So, as it suggests, I'll be doing this. So, this game is called Titanic: A Space in Between. I could tell you what it's about, but that is kind of self-explanatory. So, it's loud. Okay, it's still too loud. So, current date is silent. This is the future. I can't really see much here. So basically, this is an interrogation of a 17-year-old woman who claims to be from the Titanic, who is what is this is VR, by the way.
My grandchildren. We were all at the lifeboats, but we quickly lost them. I decided to look
So just know, you can see this is locked. It's locked. So
around our cabin, below decks. It was dire down there. The lights were dim, and I could hear water flowing.
now, lights would be dim in flooded areas. However, in the later stages of the game, it does become darker for some reason.
Close by, it distinctly smelled of death, like lost hope.
Really shouldn't have, to be honest. It's all these really dark areas.
I wasn't sure, not until I heard the scream.
Now, you hear the metal breaking,
Of my boys down the stairs.
suddenly unlocked. Clearly something's at work. So she goes down.
Things were not natural.
Yeah.
I could hear my voice, but they weren't to be seen.
It's a lantern. So she goes into the dark. There should be at least some lights on here. Because, it's a big ship. This is third class. There should be lights. No matter the water level, there should have definitely been lights, but there aren't. This is going to be a recurring theme. This never existed. There was no way to actually control the watertight doors unless you were on the crew and from the bridge. All watertight doors were controlled from the bridge. There were some manual things, but really they weren't really used anyway, especially by the passengers. So this level of damage shouldn't be seen. Seriously, it should not be seen because this is just for a tutorial. I know this is for a tutorial, but there should not be much level of destruction at all. There was stuff like this, like pipes going through the roofs and floors, only happened once those areas were completely submerged, so it would be completely unnatural to see this. I mean, that's confusing. Another watertight door lever. Again, shouldn't be here. All watertight doors were controlled from the bridge. So, it's a really weird level as well.
The last thing I remember was this.
So, this ghoul figure is seen later in the game. And
Man, he knew my name.
he's gone. And the note says, "Don't gaze at the dark." It's seemingly made out of flesh, and there's a face imprinted. It looks like metal, but it's blood. I really got no idea what this material is, because you don't just put bloody stains on it. It is imprint a face. So suddenly the ghoul is behind her, and it seems. And then it seems it's after this point that she's somehow transported to the future, modern day, whatever. So we get transported to the North Atlantic. We are now playing as Hendrik van Eden. Now, this whole scene is very long-winded, but what you need to know is that they've invented time travel some time ago, and the guy, I forgot his name, hold on. What is it?
How are you feeling? Strong? I'd say.
Placket, yes. So, a man called Placket sends someone through time, and he does this a few times until eventually he gets banned because the people sent back were traumatized, were definitely different.
Now's the time to. All out of whack. They seem completely. Details.
Then Placket goes missing.
Happened though. I mean, you got proof that
It's officially it's suicide, but his body's never found. Then Jane, the 70-year-old woman from the start, she turns up. Now, instead of now, our mission is to go through time into the Titanic and then get records for the third class, which were not, which were, I believe, stored with the purser, and basically check if where her cabin is. Basically, look for her cabin out of so many. She could be in any one of the third class cabins. So instead of looking through the records that have been recovered from the Titanic, they instead decided to send him back in time to get the records. However, since the governments of the world have all outlawed time traveling, if authorities find out, well, Hendrik is going to be stuck on the Titanic, and the guy on the other end is probably also going to be sent back as well. Also, let's see.
Don't recall the event of shocking accuracy. Ain't she stunning? You wouldn't believe. We did.
Now, you'd expect to get these records, you'd be time traveled back as a member of the crew, somebody who had the actual, who was actually allowed to go there. But instead, he's spawned in as a cold soaker right before the iceberg strikes. God. Which is terrible for many reasons. One of which being he doesn't have the necessary permission, so if a crew member spots him, or if like an officer spots him, he is not going going to be in. He's going to be in for quite the wild ride for a punishment on a sinking ship.
Digging through package records, and we found transcripts of a traveller named Diana who left.
Oh yes, and one of the last travelers to the Titanic by Plackett was Diana Simmons, 32 years old, went missing in 2143. So the mission is to get the documents to find out Jane's cabin number, try and find that, and validate her statement effectively. Find and side mission find Diana Simmons, see if they can recover her, and last of all confront Plackett because he could be on there as well.
On a mission in 2143, but she never returned.
Yeah, she never returned. So
Her exact cabin.
yeah.
24 hours before impact.
So supposed to be sent in 24 hours before impact, but you go in stasis for 23 of those hours. Therefore, you really have about an hour until the iceberg strikes. Now, you could have just sent them now the actual records, actual passenger logs and cabins. There were two of them. One for those who boarded at Queenstown, and the other for those who boarded at Cork Island. Well, Cork or Queenstown Island. And the passenger records weren't stored in G-Deck. So, where you can be spawned in, the fireman's passage, tank's top, right there. Apparently, G-Deck, which would be around about above-ish, on the same levels as the boilers below, would be where the passenger records. Well, that's not where you store passenger records. If you need to get the records out, and G-Deck's flooded, you're not going to get the passenger records out. And incorrectly, it's put where E-Deck is. F-Deck is hilariously put where D-Deck is. Yeah, I don't like that. So, this is an hour long. So I'm going to skip the whole. If the government. The government's going to kill us if they find out about this. And. Dead. Skip the whole backward. Oh,
We'll get you up there soon to locate Jane's cabin. But for now, let's have you
Okay.
blend in a bit.
skip too much.
Yes, it's there. We have communication.
Now,
Hendrik,
coal store. Rather empty. Even this is the leg of Titanic's thing. There's some random bags around. I don't know why. And
oh, you were gone. It took us almost 24 hours to establish contact.
yeah, maybe just spawn him in after once the ships set sail from Cork on its final leg. Technically the main part of the main voyage, to say spawn him in on the 13th, in the early hours of the 13th of April, not on the early 14th. basically give him the most amount of time possible to actually get the records.
But you're okay. You bloody did it, mate. You're on the RMS Titanic. I also see that your coordinates have somehow worked. It seems that you're inside of an ash room that just
Now,
to the fireman's passage, all the way to the front and bottom of the ship.
now that door is blocked up. Why? It's a coal store, and presumably, oops,